Now, several people, including a police officer and a political activist, have been stabbed in an attack in Mannheim, southwest Germany.
Well, we're joined now by our Home and Security editor, Mark White. Mark, what do we know?
Well, clearly a very serious incident unfolding in Mannheim, this city in southwestern Germany. It was at a rally, a political rally for a political group, BPE, which is an anti-Islamist group, when a man began attacking members of that rally. You're looking at video now that was live streamed. This is just in the immediate aftermath of this stabbing incident, with some of the footage there showing injured people on the ground. I've taken a look at the actual live feed from the time. You can quite clearly see a bearded man, running into shot and then stabbing multiple people. At one point, he is wrestled to the ground and then gets up immediately and stabs a police officer. We understand that police officer was stabbed in the neck. Just moments later, another police officer opens fire and then the suspect is brought to the ground. No word yet on the condition of that armed suspect, or indeed the others who were stabbed, including this police officer. But a very serious incident that's unfolding. It took place in a square right in the centre of Mannheim. As you can imagine, there's very significant emergency service activity there at the moment as the police deal with the aftermath of this terrible incident.
Do we know, Mark, if the police are treating this as a terrorist attack?
Well, certainly it would appear that, given that this was a rally against Islamist extremism, that it's certainly one possible line and potentially probable line of inquiry for the police going forward. We're in such an early stage of this incident unfolding. It really just unfolded within the last hour. So getting a definitive word from the police, from the investigators at this early stage will be difficult. But going forward, I would expect to hear from them that they are probably looking at a link to the event itself, the anti-Islamist extremism rally that was being held.
Of course, this rally is being held in the days leading up to European-wide elections. Hundreds of millions of people will be going to the polls across the European Union in the coming days. This is the second serious security incident that we've seen in the run-up to these elections. I can't help but think back to the time when the president of Slovakia was shot.
Yes, well, indeed. I mean, across Europe, police and security services are on heightened alert for the potential of terror-related events in the run-up to those European elections. Just a few days ago, actually, in Germany, a number of people were arrested in relation to what was suggested was a plot to target people visiting a synagogue in a German city. So that clearly in Germany itself, they're on heightened alert. But right across Europe, there is a real concern about the potential for, in particular, Islamist attacks. You've got what has happened and is still unfolding in the Middle East with the war in Gaza that's heightened a lot of concerns and has precipitated a number of security incidents in countries across Europe and indeed in the United States as well that have been linked back to Gaza. So some real concern. But at the moment, we're still waiting really to get the definitive word on the exact motivation behind what was a horrific, short-lived but very bloody and horrific event in this town square in Mannheim, where an anti-Islamist rally was taking place and one attacker armed with a knife started stabbing multiple people at that event, including a police officer who intervened. That police officer suffering a severe injury, we understand, to his neck. and the attacker then shot by a colleague of that officer within just seconds of him being stabbed.
And do we know anything about this Mikhail Sturzenberger who has been stabbed? And also the footage was put out, I believe, was uploaded by him. He's been described as anti-Islamist, he's been described as a conservative, he's been described as hard right. Do we know much about him other than he was campaigning against Islamism?
Well, I mean, you've just, I think, given us a sort of a potted biography of that individual. I mean, he was just the person who was filming this, not the person involved in the attack. But it was a rally, an anti-Islamist rally that was taking place. So he was part of that and part of that gathering, filming that rally for those followers of that particular group who subscribe to the concerns that this particular group has. So we should just reiterate this individual was someone who was filming, not someone linked to the attack. The attack, of course, perpetrated by someone not linked to the group, but potentially with a grudge against the group. That will be, I would imagine, uppermost in the minds of the investigators as they go forward and try to piece together exactly what motivated this very worrying and not deadly, but bloody incident in Mannheim.
Well, thank you very much indeed for bringing us that. Mark White, our Home and Security editor.